Good morning, students. Welcome back to the class. In my previous videos, I had discussed about the different types of sentences, and I had also started discussing the structure of affirmative sentences in different tenses. Now today we are going to move on with the remaining structures. So students, I begin today's lesson with negative sentences. Now what are negative sentences? They are those sentences where negative words are used. So let us see the structure of negative sentences in the present forms. So in simple present form, these are the subjects that we will be taking with I, you and plural subjects. The verb will be do not play. I, we, they, you do not play cricket. Similarly, if the subject is singular like he, she or Ravi, the verb becomes does not play cricket. So again, simple present tense, I, we, they, you do not play cricket, and in third person singular he, she or Ravi, it becomes does not play cricket. Similarly, in the present continuous tense, I always takes the helping verb am. I am not playing cricket this month. If it is third person singular, he, she, Ravi is not playing cricket this month. And if the subject is plural, we, they, those boys are not playing cricket this month. So with I it will be am, he, she, Ravi it will be is, and with plural subjects it will be are. And the rest of the sentence remains the same. For present perfect tense, I, we, you, they, these kind of subjects will be taking have not played cricket this morning, and third person singular subjects will take up has not played cricket this morning. So if we notice, there is a pattern that is to be followed. I, we, they, you. In simple present tense, they take do. The same subjects in present perfect tense take have. And over here, apart from I, in present continuous, all of them will be taking the helping verb are with them. Next, let us see how the past forms of the tenses have an effect on the negative sentences. So in simple past tense, all kinds of subjects, whether it is first person singular or plural or third person singular or second person, whatever be the subject, the verb will be did not play. Okay, so I, we, they, you, he, she, Ravi did not play cricket. Past continuous, I and the other first person, I and the other singular forms of subjects will take up was not playing. Okay, again, I as well as other singular subjects will take up the verb was not playing cricket last week when you visited. Now notice over here I have added this clause over here, when you visited, last week when you visited. If you remember, when we were discussing past continuous forms of sentences in the timeline, there was an earlier action mentioned, the reference point. So here, when you visited is the reference point. As compared to the reference point, the action of not playing was happening or not happening. The action of playing cricket was not happening. Okay, so singular subjects will take up was not playing cricket last week when you visited, and plural subjects will take up the verb were not playing cricket last week when you visited. And past perfect tense, all the types of subjects will take up one single verb, that is had not played cricket last week Friday morning. Had not played. Why? Because again, relate to the timeline that I had drawn in the previous video, where a previous point of time, a reference point of time is given from the past, that is Friday morning of last week. Okay, so that is the reference point, and with respect to the reference point, this action had not happened. So all the subjects are going to take up the verb had not played. Again, in this case, take a look at simple past and past perfect. We notice that all the different types of subjects that are possible are going to take up only one verb in the case of simple past, which is going to be did not play, and in past perfect it's going to be had not played. There is only one slight variation in the case of past continuous, where the singular subjects will take up the verb was not playing and the plural subjects will take up the verb were not playing. The next point to be taken into consideration is that of the future tenses. Now let us see how future tenses affect negative sentences. So in simple future, all the types of subjects, all the variations of subject will be taking up will not play cricket. There won't be any variation. In future continuous, again, all the types of subjects will be taking up will not be playing cricket next week. And future perfect, again, it will become will not have played. So this is the change that will happen. Will not play, will not be playing, and will not have played any cricket for 2 weeks by next Monday. So again, if you remember the timelines that had been discussed in the previous video, the reference point mentioned over here is next Monday. So next Monday has not yet come by till now, but what it means is that, say Ravi will not have played any cricket for 2 weeks by next Monday. What does this mean? That Ravi has not been playing cricket for some time now, and by next Monday it is going to be 2 weeks that he will not have played cricket. Again, just making a recap, all the tenses in the case of future tense, you notice that all types of subjects that are possible will take up only one tense in only one form of verb in the several tenses. So in simple future it will be will not, in future continuous it will be will not be playing, and in future perfect it will be will not have played. Students, before I move on to the next type of sentences, I just like to add one more thing over here. Future perfect the phrase itself looks like an oxymoron. Now, why? Because it's future, it has not yet happened, and we are talking about perfect. That is, the action is complete. So how is it possible that the action has not yet happened and is completed at the same point of time? Again, I'll remind you that this is something which is supposed to be happening at a projected span of time, a projected period of time in future. If this is the timeline and this is the present moment which I have marked as N, and this is a future time, a time in future, I am expecting a certain work to complete, to get over or to be finished before the reference time. Okay, so this is all in projection. This has not yet happened, but it is assumed that the action will be over before the said time in future, before the reference time in future. That is why it is said to be future perfect. Why future? It is supposed to be happening in the future. And why perfect? Because it's supposed to be over, supposed to be complete before the specified point of time in future. Students, the next type of sentences that we are going to discuss is the interrogative sentences in the yes-no format, the yes-no questions. So simple present tense will make use of the word do. Okay, the question words in this yes no questions are always do, does, am, is, are, has, have. So the helping verbs, they move to the front of the sentence. They move in front of the sentence. They move before the subject. As against the affirmative sentences, the helping verbs in the affirmative sentences, the helping verbs will always be after the subject. But in an interrogative sentence, in a yes no question, the helping verb will always be before the subject. I'll give you an example. If I take this sentence, am I reading books? So the helping verb is in front of the subject I. This is the example of an interrogative sentence. But the same sentence in the affirmative sentence would have been I am reading books. Okay. So coming back to interrogative sentences, simple present tense, do, I, we, you, they. Apart from I, we know that I is singular, but it functions in a sentence, in a sentence structure. It always takes up the position, it always takes up the pattern of plural subjects. So apart from I, the rest of the subjects over here are all plural. Do I, or the plural subjects, read books, ending with a question mark. And the singular subjects will take up the verb does. Does he read books? Does she read books? Does Ravi read books? In present continuous, am I reading books? Is he, she, or Ravi reading books? Are they reading books? Are you reading books? And so on and so forth. Present perfect tense, the verbs to be used in present perfect will be have and has. Have will be used with the plural structures, the plural subjects, and has will be used with the singular subjects. Again, I is an exception. So have I read those books, or have you read those books? Have they read those books? Similarly, has he read those books, or has Ravi or has she read those books? Ending with a question mark. Now let us take a look at the past tense structures the past tense verbs have on the interrogative sentences. So simple past will be written with did or didn't, and all the types of subjects will be carrying only one verb expression. Did read. Okay, did I read books, or didn't you read books, or did they read books? So did and didn't just suggests whether the question is going to be in the positive or in the negative format. Other than that, the verb will remain same. There will be no change in the verb. In past continuous, there are two variations. Was or wasn't will be used with singular subjects. Again, I is the exception over here. Of course, I is was and wasn't will be taking up singular subjects. In this case, even I is going to be written along with the other singular subjects. So, was I reading a book then, or wasn't Ravi reading a book then? Again, you see over here the word then suggests a reference point of time in the past. Whenever we are talking about past continuous or perfect tense, whenever we are discussing continuous tense or perfect tense, you will always notice that we are referring to a specific point of time, a reference point of time, whether in past or in present or in future. In this case, we are talking about a reference point of time in past. And past perfect tense has got only one expression for all the different kinds of subjects: had, read. So had you read the books, you would not have. The sentence should be should actually go on. Had you read the books, you would not have faced any problem. Okay, so the example should be, had you read the books, you would not have faced any problem. Students, I have discussed future tense also over here only because the structures are extremely simple. We just have simple future tense, where for future tense we already know that the word will is used to suggest the future tense. So in simple future tense, the word will is added to the sentence. All the different kinds of subjects will be preceded by the word will. Will they read this book, or will you read this book, or will I read this book, will he read this book? It is going to be the same structure for all the sentences having different kinds of subjects. And future continuous will be, will they be reading this book, or will he be reading this book? The phrase be reading suggests continuous tense, and will be reading suggests future continuous. We are not going to discuss any future perfect because the expressions for future perfect are no longer used. Now we come to the last type of sentences. This is also interrogative sentence, the WH question pattern. How do the tenses affect this type of sentences? In simple present tense, now WH question, the word itself, the phrase itself suggests that there will be a WH word. The sentence is going to start with a WH word. There are many different kinds of WH words: who, what, where, when. All of these words can be used in this structure. I have used some of them. So the WH word is usually followed by the do verb or the be verb, and then the subject, then the verb, main verb, and then the remaining part of the sentence. So in simple present tense, we will write for apart from I, as I keep saying, I is an exception, the remaining are all plurals. So plural subjects. So what do we write for simple present tense? Why do we work in the weekends, or why do they work in the weekends, or why do I work in the weekends? The same sentence, if the subject is singular, becomes where does he work in the weekends. I've taken a different WH word over here. Where does he or where does she work in the weekends? In present continuous, the WH word what has been used. With I, we use am. With he, she, Ravi, the word is has been used. And with subjects you, we, they, or Ravi and Neetu, the word are has been used. So what am I doing this weekend, or what is he doing this weekend? What are we doing this weekend? This is going to be present continuous. Next, present perfect tense. Again, we know that for perfect tense, the words to be used are have and has. In the present perfect form, they are have and has. So what have you done this weekend, or what have we done this weekend? When has he left the school, or when has Ravi left the school? Now let us see how in the same sentence type past forms of tenses have their effect. So in simple past, whatever be the subject, singular, plural, first person, second person, or third person, the verb that will be taken is did. Why did we leave the school, or why did he leave the school? Why did she leave the school? The sentence structure is going to remain the same irrespective of the subject being singular or plural. In past continuous, however, there will be two forms. What was I doing this weekend? What was he or she or Ravi doing this weekend? And the second type is what were you or we or they doing this weekend? So for plural subjects, the verb taken is were, and for singular subjects, the verb taken is was. Similarly, in past perfect tense, only one form, that is what had you done this weekend, or what had I done this weekend, what had he done this weekend. We notice that for simple past and for past perfect, there are only one forms of expressions. students, I have also discussed the last part of this chapter in this very board, simple future and future continuous. So future tense, we know that we are always going to use the word will, the helping word will, helping verb will is used to suggest future tense. So in simple future tense, there is only one kind of expression, that is, say with the WH word when. When will you call her, or when will I call her, when will she call him. So the structure remains the same irrespective of the different kinds of subjects that we may have. Same is with future continuous. When will you be calling her? So the only change is in this verb. It is going to become be calling to suggest future continuous. The remaining sentence is going to remain the same. When will I be calling her? When will she be calling him? So that is we see that with simple future and simple future and future continuous, there are not many variations. Again, I'm not going to discuss the future perfect tense in this structure because these expressions are no longer used. Thank you, students. With this, we come to an end of this chapter. Whatever exercises are given to you along with your e-content, please do them and refer back to these videos if you have any problems. Thank you, students. Have a nice day and stay safe.